You are listening to the So Now What podcast with Lana Manikowski, episode number 61. So now what? These three words raced through my mind time and time again during my journey through fertility treatments. I tried desperately to have a child, but never was able. I yearned for a community to join that could understand my struggles. I couldn't find one, so I created one with the So Now What podcast. I love that you found us. Hey, gorgeous. How's your week going? I am great. Everything's really good. I am getting back into the groove. Jack and I, we were in Miami. That was great. So last week was, just kind of a lot of catch up. I've been trying to be more diligent about really disconnecting when I'm away from home. I've always, especially after my infertility, found myself being very busy with work and immersing myself into doing things and things that gave me an opportunity to feel as though I accomplished something. And that's just not an effective way for me to always operate, because I realized how I was missing out on a lot of moments of just being Jack and I together, feeling like I just unplugged a little bit and changed my energy when I was away. So that said, we're going to be talking about some career stuff. This is something that comes up quite frequently with my students, and I thought I would bring it here on the podcast to talk about because you might be experiencing it yourself. So have you noticed that since finding out that you weren't going to be a mom, you felt as though your life was at a standstill and life was just going on around you, and you were sort of in this surf of life? So you might be moving forward, but not necessarily by your own projection, that you felt you were just moving forward on this wave that was moving in your career, but you didn't really have sort of a grounding on where you were, where you want to be, where you saw yourself in the future. This is something, I work a lot with women that are successful, career-driven women in the corporate world, just total badasses. Infertility happens, and then you sort of are feeling this first time of being stuck in your professional career. It's not a great place to be long-term if you are somebody who is used to success, used to thriving, kind of used to being somebody who's always had forward movement in their life. This is something that we commonly deal with in our community here. I thought today it would be really interesting to offer you some opportunities to see whether this is where you are in your career. So I was working with one of my students last week. She has had a successful career and where she's been. She's never really thought about where she wanted to go in her future. She thought about one day maybe becoming a mom and leaving work altogether. Like, she just never thought she would be at a point where she was working this far into her life, being in her career, because she thought she was going to, be a stay-at-home mom. So now that she knows that that's not going to happen, there's this feeling of pressure of, is this what I want to do? What else do I want to be? Being somebody who's always identified as this position in your job. The type of women that I work with are historically very successful, career-driven, active in the community, doers, just your typical thriving female who, until the fertility journey came about, never really felt like there was not a clear roadmap on where their life was going, that there was just always this forward movement. And then infertility happens, your fertility journey ends, you don't have a child. And a lot of the women in my community are not used to that stagnation that you feel when you find out that life is just going to be so different than you imagined it would. My student that I was working on never thought that at this point in her life she would be working. So she never really thought about a career path beyond what she was doing. She had desires to maybe work part-time, enjoy having some dabbling in a professional world, but really be a stay-at-home mom. So she never really thought much about what she wanted to do in her future because, just assumed she was going to be a mom. So if you relate to that and you're at this point now where you're done with your fertility journey, you're living the future without children and you really desire to create that plan for yourself, but it's just not clear to you, I'm going to share with you some of the tools that we've been using and to help you sort of figure that out. And first of all, recognizing what it is in your career that you like. What are the things you enjoy doing? What are the things that you're good at? What are some things that maybe you have been interested that other people do, but you just never imagined yourself there, so you did not dig in deeper? So getting curious, what are you good at? What are your strengths? Maybe creating a brand statement for yourself, which is a practice my students do. We work on this together, is creating your brand statement. In order to create that brand statement, you have to get really clear of a very robust list of questions and thought work that we do to get to that point, to really be clear on who are you as this new version of you, as this future that is just so your oyster. What is it that you aspire to be or aspire to do? And that might freak you out because that seems like a really big lift after coming off this infertility journey. But the greatest thing about it is that this can evolve. Just the practice of going through and challenging your mind to get creative and to let the barriers down and to let the automatic, no, I couldn't do that, or no, I might not be good at that. Learning how to turn that off and get curious when you have those thoughts come up that I might not be good at that, or what if I don't excel? What if I'm not successful? All these things that might be coming up for you, instead of shutting them down and just saying, okay, I'm just going to stay where I'm at in my warm, cozy, comfy place. But if you take an opportunity to evaluate, why am I thinking that? When that comes up, be like, what about this new trajectory do I feel like I wouldn't be good at? Is it maybe one thing that you might not be good at versus 10 things that you know you are good at, but you're letting this one potential doubt in your mind hold you back from going forward? So what we work on is understanding what it is that you're thinking and then asking yourself, is that really true? That is some of the best work that we've been working on as far as creating a new potential for where you want to go in your future, in your workplace, in a talent, in something that you aspire to try. And it's been really magical work. So I hope that's of help to you. I know it can feel overwhelming. I know it could feel very daunting to start to even consider what your possibilities are. But when you work with someone like me, I will help you navigate what that roadmap looks like in your future. And when you get on this trajectory of starting to dream again, you will feel such a lightness and such a ability to truly breathe again and start to thrive again. I hope this was helpful. I also wanted to offer you the fact that I know the holidays are coming up. If you're like me, you are wondering how the heck we've already skipped over Thanksgiving, and here we are with Christmas decorations everywhere we look. And I know what a triggering time the holidays can be. You might be not looking forward to a holiday get together because you know you've got to walk into that family gathering and be asked again, when are you going to have kids? Any baby news? You know, these questions that I know are so consistently asked, but really get to the core of the sadness and the emptiness and the loneliness that many of us feel around the holiday season. So because of that, I have put together a guide to meaningful holidays. I would love to share it with you, and you might find great value in preparing yourself for some of the things that are giving you some anxiousness around the holidays. I'm also offering a free call on Saturday, November the 19th. If you're interested in joining that, we are going to go through the guide together. I'm going to help you figure out how to fill it out so that you can best utilize it and really get some time in there to do some one-on-one coaching if there's something that's really been bothering you, some anxiousness or some dread that you're feeling around the holidays. bring it to the call. Let's talk about it, because if you're feeling it, I guarantee you there are so many other women in our community that are feeling the same. So if that is of interest to you, please send me a message on Instagram at lana.manikowski, or you can send me an email at stitchcoaching@gmail.com. I hope to hear from you. Have an awesome week. I love you. And remember, it's never too late to discover your meaning. I'll talk to you next week.